have the power. So I will decide that Rosaline will have to leave this workspace because I have the power. You'll find emotions are suppressed because you don't want to be viewed as a weaker sex. Men are always harassed sexually, but because masculinity leans on strength, a man will not come forth to say, I have been sexually harassed by this male boss. So you find that imbalance happens in the workplace where there is toxic masculinity and toxic femininity.
Like taking services to the marginalized areas where they don't put value to a woman. From the seating arrangement, we had even hired a tent, we put in seats, but all the women were sitting down. Despite there being enough seats for everyone. The women were sitting down, the men on the chairs, and it was amazing. The meeting never went on because we were a set of women coming to address men, and in their culture that never happens.
And the fight continues.
Yes.
This is Workplace Conversations with Rosalind and Dika.
And welcome to another episode of Workplace Conversations. At Workplace Conversations, we transform the workplace into a safe space where everybody thrives. And today on Workplace Conversations, we want to dig into a very interesting topic. In the recent past, it has become a topic of discussions in workplaces, and it is on toxic feminism and toxic masculinity. And today I have a guest in the studio that will help us dive into this topic. I'll let her introduce herself before we continue. Karibu sana.
Asante, thank you for having me. So my name is Mikal Abulatia Imbukwa, a journalist, storyteller, and advocate of the rights of the girls and women. Thank you.
She didn't tell you that she's my sister.
Oh my goodness, she is my big sister.
Yes.
So it means I have to behave on this seat.
Yes, big sister on the watch.
Okay.
So before we dive into the topic, let's warm up the set. If your workplace culture was a drink, what could it be? Clean water, bitter coffee, or a toxic soda, and why?
Wow, that's an interesting question. So I would say bitter coffee because for me in the workplace you have to be alert all the time. Yeah, because you never know. Because in the different places we work in, there are so many things that happen in there.
Yes.
And there are positives and negatives. And the negatives include things like sabotage. So you have to ensure that you have a clean slate all the time and you're alert with your colleagues, because you never know when you are on the side of answering to the management or the boss.
So bitter coffee it is.
Yeah.
So culture, just like any drink, can either refresh you or leave a bad taste in your mouth. And when toxic masculinity or toxic feminism creeps in, it can poison collaboration and trust. That's why today we want to explore both sides.
Yes.
Understand how they show up at work, and most importantly, discuss how to find balance. So, how could you define toxic feminism and toxic masculinity?
All right. So, toxic feminism is when advocacy for the rights of women and girls shifts and it becomes hostility towards men, where it becomes an us versus them situation, where it's now like we are having fist bumps, you're fighting, and we are overlooking the struggles of men because now we are assuming men don't have struggles like how the ones women and girls have. So instead of advocating for equality, we are we are advocating for division, where we can't sit on a table as women and men and agree on a situation. And toxic masculinity is not about masculinity in men, but the traditional ideas about manhood, like aggressiveness, um, suppression of emotions, and you find men struggling to be like strong and not wanting to be viewed as the weaker sex. You know, women are viewed as the weaker sex, so they want to put up a face that defines their masculinity. Yeah, the toxic masculinity.
So what I'm getting from your definitions, it's about stereotyping.
Yeah,
But one is stereotype towards women, another one is stereotype
towards
towards
men.
men.
Yeah.
Okay. So both have extremes.
Yes.
Because I've been in companies where ladies feel entitled
Yeah.
to be promoted because they are
Ladies.
ladies, and men feel entitled that before their views are heard, the discussion is not going anywhere, even if it is in a boardroom
Yeah.
discussion, like it's their way or the highway.
The
So
highway. Yeah.
where do we strike a balance in the office?
First of all, it has to begin with the leadership. Okay, because these things mostly trickle down from the leadership. So if the leadership is the one that is promoting toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, we don't expect anything different down here. If the management is receiving that vibe from the leadership, it will trickle down to, you know, to the other employees. And now that's why you find there is no cohesion. We are in a space of trying to, you want to be heard by force, the way you have said. Like, I'm a man, I have said it and you have to take it. And as a woman, because you're working in a space of men, you want to also have the traits of masculinity where you don't want to hear what the men are saying. So I'll say it starts from the leadership. If the leadership has balance, where we have empathy, where we listen to the people, the management will toe the line, and I think that will trickle down to the rest of the staff. And I've worked in such a place where um, it was a number of years ago when I was still new in the media industry, and I happened to be in this organization where we had two bosses. They were both male, and they had defined our roles. Mikal, you're supposed to do this. Beryl, you're supposed to do this. Christoph, you're supposed to do this. So hakuna kugongana. And in this place, they never entertained any form of, you know, the stereotypes, you know, kukwaruzana. So because the leadership had taken charge of the situation in the organization, and they were promoting a healthy work environment, the work environment was healthy. But I've also worked in places where the leadership uko juu, like the toxic masculinity, is so evident that it's trickling down to the rest of the staff, and it's being even seen in the female employees who want to bring down, like there's one who used to criticize people in a meeting, and you know, like I would tell them, you don't do that to men. Because they'll start sabotaging you, or they'll start not taking in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it starts from
The leadership.
the leadership.
So in workplace dynamics,
Yeah.
how do these two toxic extremes show up in the workplace? Okay, I know you've said in leadership,
Yeah.
but what other ways do they show up?
Other ways they show up, instead of collaborating, people are competing. Competition is not bad. But if it's competition whereby I just want to be at the top and I don't want to collaborate with other people, there's a problem there. You find people start using power to oppress, you know. I have the power, so I will decide that Rosaline will have to leave this workspace because I have the power. You'll find emotions are suppressed because you don't want to be viewed as a weaker sex. And as I speak, I'm talking about them as a blanket of masculinity, toxic masculinity, and femininity. So you will find there is no fairness, you know. Women want to sideline the men, and men on the decision-making table, they're sidelining the women because a man feels like his idea is superior to that of a woman. So you find there is aggressiveness, which might also even result in sexual harassment. And when you talk about sexual harassment, we lean mostly on the women, but is it not also affecting the men in many ways? There are organizations where men are always harassed sexually, but because masculinity leans on strength, a man will not come forth to say, I have been sexually harassed by this male boss. So you find that imbalance happens in the workplace where there is toxic masculinity and toxic femininity.
Okay. Have you ever witnessed situations where gender stereotypes caused conflict or imbalance at work?
Many times. So after I left the organization, I told it was very healthy. I went to a different one where the board had men. So a woman was brought to head the station, and the men were not happy. So they will say things like, "A woman cannot tell me anything," you know. So there was that resistance, and this pushed this woman to the extent of starting to behave like men. She lacked empathy. She's decisive and not listening. Whatever she says goes. Doesn't care whether it's sitting well with you or not. So when these genders start looking down on each other, when the masculinity is playing out, you find working in unity becomes very difficult. Teamwork becomes non-existent because I want to appeal to the female boys. Like, people started now, you want to do things that appeal to the female boys. You want to sabotage other people, which is not quite okay. Yeah. When I came in, you were talking about office politics. Yeah. And the conclusion was they're not entirely bad. But when it comes to toxic masculinity and femininity, the benefits are very few. I don't think there's even.
I think the
benefits.
ones I've experienced, when I was working in my former office, we used to go to provide services in the marginalized communities a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd find in our office, we were working with advocates, and most of the advocates were women. So when taking services to the marginalized areas where they don't put value to a woman, so like we've gone there to offer services, and they're asking us, where are the men? So we are telling them that what the services the men can offer, we can also offer, but they couldn't understand the fact that they are being addressed by women. Yeah, so that is the worst I saw, and the meeting never went on because according to their culture, women are supposed to be seen,
not
not heard.
Yeah, women are supposed to do the soft tasks.
Yes.
Not lead organizations.
Yeah,
or
you
make
could see
decisions.
even from the sitting arrangement, we had even hired a tent, we put in seats, but all the women were sitting down, despite there being enough seats for everyone.
Wow.
The women were sitting down, the men on the chairs, and it was amazing. The meeting never went on because we were a set of women coming to address men, and in their culture that never happens.
And the fight continues.
Yes.
The fight. When you mentioned that about women sitting down, I remember A lady I interviewed some years back, and she was in a board. She was a member of a board. So she was the only female in that board. And she said when it comes to prayer, they would tell her, Weomba, because prayer is a designate for women. She got to a point of telling them, no, someone else can pray. It's not a must that a woman prays. So the stereotypes on the gender stereotypes, the biases play a lot in the toxic masculinity and femininity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So impact, how the extremes impact on people. How does toxic masculinity affect both men and women in professional spaces? And how also does toxic feminism also affect?
Yeah. So in organizations where toxic masculinity is playing out, you find women are denied some positions, and you find when you'll find things like sexual harassment also happening because of the power dynamics. You know, because you're a woman, you have to do some things to appeal to this man for you to get favors. It happens. You are where you work. I'm very sure you've had situations like those where
The one that comes to play, I even addressed it, was the Kawera Mwangaza situation in Meru. Because I was wondering, is she just incompetent, or was toxic feminism playing out, or were the men? Because you could see the men were really against her. She could have her own weaknesses, her own, but the men was too much in her, and you would see when they were plotting on how they could have meetings to plot on how to. So I really felt sorry for that situation.
And for that I think culture also comes to play, because there are some communities where it's men who are supposed to lead. Maybe in Meru there's something like that, I don't know. So maybe that's why they were fighting Kawira Mwangaza that much, because they could not believe that a woman is sitting on that seat and making decisions for them. So now they have to rise against her, which is quite unfortunate. And now when toxic feminism, you find women are not willing to take the ideas that men bring on the table. So when a man speaks, whatever they say is shot down. And you find it's not easy for men to collaborate easily with women because of the environment.
So Mikal, what does healthy masculinity look like in the workplace, and also healthy feminism?
So healthy masculinity in the workplace, I would look at it as a situation where men bringing in their confidence without arrogance. Because sometimes that confidence plays out. When a man is being confident, they become arrogant, and they don't care about the other people in the place. And also when strength comes with empathy, we have situations where leaders want to make decisions, but they don't even consider the people who are working in these organizations. Organizations are made up of people, and people are diverse. There are different personalities that you're working with. So when you just want to make decisions without considering the ideas of these other people, it becomes unfair. There's no balance there. And a healthy masculinity comes with speaking. You speak, I listen, not you speaking and deciding for me. And also you can speak and I can speak, and you can strike a balance. So listening is very crucial in healthy masculinity, because when it comes to toxic masculinity, there's no listening. It's speaking, and whatever I have said has to be done. because I am the boss or I am the manager. But in healthy masculinity, you speak, I listen, and I speak, you listen. And there's a balance created there. And when it comes to healthy femininity, we have an environment of fairness where we are not overlooking the struggles of men, because men also have struggles. I have mentioned the sexual harassment. Mostly we lean on the sexual harassment towards women. What about men who are experiencing it, but they are silent because they don't want to be viewed as the weaker sex? So as we are looking sexual harassment, are we just leaning on the female gender? No, we are looking at it both ways, because it affects both genders. And also, on that table of decision making, is it balanced? Are we just having men speaking, or are we just having women speaking? And on this table where we are having men and women speaking, are we advocating for equal rights for women and men? Yeah, so that is how healthy masculinity and femininity looks for me in the workplace.
Do you think the laws that have been put in place favors the woman more, because you find out that there is affirmative action where they are even in recruitment, the women are given an upper hand, and it's easier for a woman as compared to the man. Like the man has to work 2 times harder the woman, and the woman has become, I don't want to say vulnerable, but they use the vulnerability card to chest thump, to have their way. So do you think the laws, because even when it comes to empowerment, we are seeing that the girl child is more empowered. There are so many advocacies towards the girl child as compared to the boy child. So like, I was recently having a conversation with some Gen Zs, and they were telling me, because there are so many conversations around the girl child. The girl child is empowered from the early days of primary school as compared to boy child. There's this song that girls sing at, these are my private parts. Private parts. They touch the breast, they touch what. So at boys are never taught such things. And the way you are saying, it's very easy for somebody to molest a boy and get away with it, because the boy has not been told which are his private parts, whereas the girl has been shown with even a song, these are my private parts. If somebody touches them, scream. What about the boy?
So with affirmative action, I'd say it came up because of the gap that was there, where women in the leadership positions were mostly dominated by men. So affirmative action happened to ensure that there is some balance, or we're pushing equality, right? But I'll agree with you. Maybe we are overdoing it right now, and the men are feeling like wanakanyagiliwa sana.
Yeah.
And I think that should also be, they should look into that more, so that it doesn't turn out into a war of them versus them, of them versus us. Because I believe when they come up with the idea of affirmative action, they had the best intentions.
Yes.
Maybe how it's playing out is not the best way. And on the song of these are my private parts, I think it comes from the point of girls are very vulnerable.
Yeah.
From when they are growing up, we have had situations of babies being defiled, and that brings in the subject of boundaries, teaching girls boundaries. Girls learn boundaries through such things like, these are my private parts, no one should touch them. And that is because of the vulnerability the girl child faces in the home. It's not and as you have said, it turns out as like men are not vulnerable too. Men are also vulnerable, but the cases that have been there, it's women who carry teenage pregnancies. But now when it comes to HIV, both of them get it, So Nizile, it's girls are more vulnerable.
Yeah, and a result of that affirmative action and the girl child being empowered more than the boy child, we are finding that in the recent past, there are so many women in leadership positions. Go to our offices here in town, you'll find most of the directors are women. Go to schools, they are filled with female teachers. We are seeing medics, like the girl child, even in exams, girl child are taking the lead. And there's insecurity. There's that aspect of insecurity because personally, Roslyn, I was born a very bold person.
Child,
I was a bold child. I ask difficult questions. In fact, yesterday people were telling me they admire me because I'm able to ask those difficult questions that people shy away from. And I've found it really rubbing people the wrong way. And sometimes I've been forced to tone down for the sake of peace because I want a peaceful work environment. And there's so much shenanigans going on because of I've seen me being left out of lists because I've intimidated men somewhere. And this is what I was born like. I'm not forcing it on me. That's how God made me, bold person. But I've been left out in activities because I intimidate some people. I've been left out of assignments because
a
I'll
them
take a
situation
shine.
and not a you situation.
Yeah.
It's they are feeling intimidated. It's not you intimidating them. It's a thing that they need to work on in themselves.
But it now affects my delivery, my work delivery, because now I have to pretend a lot. I have to be not me. And I love this show because this is me in my element. I am able to showcase what I am as compared to when I'm in their space.
Yeah, so in that situation, you play smart.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. You are not suppressing, you are not conforming so much, but also you're not stepping on their toes. So you are being smart in what you're doing because they'll always be there. So to avoid them hindering you from doing what you're supposed to do and sabotaging you, you play smart. You employ the emotional intelligence card.
So what are some of the tell signs that this toxic feminism and masculinity is playing out? Yeah.
I have mentioned it. When you find in organizations, there's a lot of competition, but less collaboration. I want to shine, so I have to step on your toes to shine. Okay, I'm not willing to collaborate with you because I'm viewing you as my competitor, and in such places you find a lot of politics arise. You spoke about it before, and silos start coming up, so it becomes them versus us, and toxic masculinity environments and toxic femininity. There's no fairness, there's no balance. So men start shying away from showing up in their element, and they are not free to collaborate with women because of the environment that has been created. In this space, it's women who are saying, and men are not allowed to speak. So you find that imbalance starts playing out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can men and women support each other instead of competing?
First of all, it's by looking at each other as equal partners instead of competitors. We all go to school. By virtue of the fact that we're working in this organization, maybe it means we did similar courses, we sat in the same classrooms, we did the same exams, and we qualified equally. So the workplace should not be the place where we start looking at each other as competitors. We are partners. We are partners, and we should work together as partners to push the agenda of the workplace, because every workplace has its agenda, you know. So we should not be the people that pull each other down. We should be people that lift each other down. And I've seen it happen. I've seen workplaces where people rise together. I know Roslyn is better in this area, and I'm better in this area, so I collaborate with Roslyn to get that task done. It doesn't mean that if I collaborate with her, she will take my work or take my place. You know, it just shows that I have high emotional intelligence, and I can work with people with different personalities that are around me and recognize different strengths that are in this organization. And also, like, when biases and stereotypes are happening, you point them out, and we kill them before now they start spreading and ruining the beautiful workplace situation that we are having. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think as you in the beginning we had said that mostly it occurs because of leadership. So from a leadership point of view, how can they make these competitions to cease?
Policies in the workplace are very, very important.
Yes.
And with policies, we have values. So ensuring, as the leadership, we are living these values. We stand firm on the policies, and we make sure all these other people get it, from the management to the rest of the staff. So if the leadership is not living by the values of the organization, we can't expect the management to do any better. So having the policies and ensuring that they live through the organization and the employees that are working in there, and the values, you make them clear, and you make sure these people get them. The values of respect, fairness, empathy, make sure they get them, even if it's through sessions. Is it empowerment sessions? Yeah, ensuring that you have them so that they get it right.
Capacity building workshops.
Yeah, capacity building workshops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. How do we create a culture of balance, respect, and fairness?
A culture of balance, respect, and fairness. First of all, by recognizing that we are human beings working together and we have different personalities, and learning to work with these different personalities in the workplace, and ensuring that the values also, as I had mentioned, the people get them, you know, and having sessions where you take these employees through how to identify gender biases and stereotypes, and ensuring they become like, unasemanga, your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
You know, in the workplace, we are not supposed to be on the, unasemanga, in the workplace, your colleague is not your friend. I think that should not always be the case. You know, we should have each other's backs.
Yes.
You know, we should not look down on the men who are working with us because we are women. We should not use our power to oppress the juniors. We should listen more. Okay? We should listen more and take into consideration what is being said to us. If it's going to help the organization, the better. people forget that organizations are made up of people, and if there's lack of cohesion in the workplace, not much progress will be made in the work. We should just be in a space of solving minute cases that would have been avoided by setting clear guidelines, having clear policies and values in the workplace. And also, when you're recruiting people, ensure you also find out the values they stand by. Your values help you achieve a lot in life, and that's also in the workplace. Your values help you achieve a lot in the workplace, and that brings there's a book we are doing in church called Jesus the High Road Leader, and it's mostly talking about the values. So they say, just as the foundation of a building makes it stronger, your values make you unshakable. So ensuring that we have the right values in the workplace.
Okay. So I normally, every show that I do, we normally have myths and misconception about a topic. So there are myths and misconceptions that I would like us to demystify. So number one, toxic masculinity means all men are toxic.
No, that is not true. As I said in the beginning, toxic masculinity is not about masculinity in men, but about these traditional ideas like dominance, aggressiveness, suppression of emotions that now are taken to the extreme. And it can be in women as well as men. So it's not a thing of men alone.
Okay, myth number two, toxic feminism is the same as feminism.
No, that is not true. Feminism pushes for equal opportunities and advocates for the rights of women. But toxic feminism shifts to the side of hostility towards men, where it's the them versus us situation, where we have women telling their fellow women, don't do this for men, you know. So it's toxic feminism is more, it does not support equality but supports mostly division between women and men.
Okay. Number three, myth, toxic masculinity only hurts women.
No, it doesn't only hurt women, because you find in workplaces, men are pushed to the side of always trying to show strength, you know, working so hard, because that is what toxic masculinity is. You don't want to be viewed as a weaker person. So you find a man is suppressing his emotions, you know, because he does not want to be looked at as a weaker person. And that is not okay. We are human beings and we have emotions, and there are times when we are allowed to express them. So toxic masculinity for men means they can't show, they can't say no, you know, they can't show the emotions that are associated to weaker, the weaker sex.
Okay. Number 4 or 5.
I think four.
Toxic feminism only affects men.
No, it doesn't only affect men. It doesn't only affect men, because now you find in a place where toxic feminism is playing out, there's that environment of aggression that has been created, and men are not supporting women in whatever agendas they're having. So if it's in the workplace, that means we will not make progress with that idea that needs the input of a man, you know. So it doesn't affect men, it affects both genders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5, talking about toxic masculinity means attacking men.
No, it's not. Have we attacked men? Like those people who have been here, have they felt like attacked? No, I don't think it's attacking men. No, it's about the stereotypes And we have been talking about the stereotypes.
Okay.
You know,
If women rise, men must fall.
no, no, we are supposed to rise together, and that is that's why we have the equity. You know, equity means all of us at our levels we are able to access whatever resources that are available for us to access.
Okay, the last one. Toxic masculinity and toxic feminism cancel each other out.
Do they?
Tell us.
Do they? I don't think they do. I don't think they do, because there's no end to this. You've seen these people on X, the Amarex, the Akna Aoko. You know, does it balance each other out? No. It's just like a fight now. Munarusha tunarusha. And in the workplace, there's no balance. There's no balance. They don't cancel each other out. I don't think when toxic masculinity is at the peak, toxic femininity is, I'll say they don't cancel each other out.
Tomika, it has been a very interesting topic. We have seen where our ignorance is in this topic. So what are your parting shot?
My parting shot will be, at the end of the day, toxic masculinity and toxic femininity distract us from what really matters. We are not able to achieve our targets, and we stay in a space of bringing each other down. So it's high time women and men recognize that together we stand, divided we fall. When we collaborate with each other, we achieve more and move faster. Thank you.
So viewers, you've heard. The truth is, toxic masculinity and toxic feminism are not about attacking men or women. They are about calling out harmful extremes that keep us divided. The workplace is not a battlefield of genders. It's a space of partnership, fairness, and growth. When we strip away the myths what remains is symbol. Balance beats toxicity every time. And that's it from us today. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Workplace Conversations with Rosalind and Dika.